Get ready for your daily dose of marketing strategies and tactics from entrepreneurs with the guile and experience to help you find success in any marketing capacity. You're listening to Marketing School with your instructors, Neil Patel and Eric Su.
Welcome to another episode of Marketing School. I'm Eric Su.
And I'm Neil Patel.
And today we're going to talk about how to win more business as a freelance digital marketer. So first and foremost, if you listened to the last episode, I talked about audience being the number one thing that's the most difficult thing to do, but you can reap the benefits afterwards. So I always think it's about building the audience first, building people that follow you, and then figuring out what to do afterwards. So if you're able to build an audience, so for example, creating a podcast, or you have a great YouTube channel where you're doing like a vlog every single day, figure out where your audience is hanging out, and then constantly deliver to them over time, and then be consistent. Because I hear from people all the time, it's like, oh, I heard you on Growth Everywhere, or I heard you on Marketing School, or I just get your content all the time. Same thing with Neil, right? A lot of people want to work with Neil too, just because he's constantly delivering content over time. And he's got a sizable audience. So building an audience, delivering value to them, that's going to help you win more business. And that's going to help you stand out from all the other people that are just cold outreaching all the time, hoping to catch a straggler here or there.
Yeah, one simple thing to do is go to Crunchbase, go look at all the people that have raised money, and email them stuff that they can do to improve their company. It's a simple way, break down all the stuff that they're doing wrong, and even tell them how to fix it. You'll actually generate quite a bit of business from that. I used to do that. It was my main way of generating revenue. There wasn't Crunchbase at that time. Crunchbase has made it easier. Back then, what I would do is I would just manually Google and tell every website who's spending a lot of money on pay-per-click on what they're doing wrong on SEO or their pay-per-click or social media, etc. And I told them the changes to make. It helped me generate a lot of business over the years. Nowadays,
there's so many sales tools out there that can help you, reach out to people. And well, one of the things is with these sales tools, like let's look at Outreach, for example. They are tailored to allow you to send messages at scale. A lot of these tools aren't, going to give you the opportunity to personalize. So using a tool like, let's say, Yesware, I'm not sure if Yesware allows this, but Yesware is fairly popular. But I know Mixmax for sure. Mixmax will allow you to, let's say, schedule a template, but then you're able to personalize each template because if you're sending the same thing over and over, like you can basically detect now when people are sending you a templatized email. But if you just customize maybe, 10 to 20% of an email, then it's basically personalized, right? It's the same thing how Google views a piece of content too. If you're able to personalize it a little bit, it's counted as a unique piece of content. And this is something that Matt Cutt said years ago, who's no longer on their team. But make sure that you personalize your message if you're going to do cold outreach like what Neil's talking about. And it's going to work out better for you. I remember we were actually just testing last week some cold outreach. And because we were able to personalize and because we're able to laser target, our response rates or our open rates were about 70% or so. So if you're able to get an open rate of 70% over time, you're going to do fairly well.
Yeah, the other thing that you need to do is hit up your competition. I know that sounds crazy, but the bigger players in your space are probably overwhelmed. They have a lot of work, more business that they can deal with. They'll gladly give you their low-end deals. You can just give them a cut back. And they're like, oh, cool, we turned down most of our business. Oh, you'll take stuff that's $1,000 a month? They're like, we wouldn't even touch that with a 10-foot pole. But on your end, you're like, hey, those are great deals for me. I can run them almost pure profit. And they're like, cool, just give us 15, 20%. They make extra money. They don't have to do much work. And on your end, you're actually generating quite a bit of money without having to go and find customers or leads.
This is actually huge because we refer a good amount of deals out, especially the smaller ones like what Neil's talking about. So this works out really well. And I know Neil does something similar too. The other side of things, I would say, is using a tool like AdBeat. So AdBeat will allow you to check out what, let's say, for example, I want to work with a university. So if I want to work with a university, well, let's say UCLA, for example. And I might just take a look at USC to see how much money they're spending in terms of advertising. And nothing pisses people off more than seeing that their advertisers or their competitors are doing a better job than them and are spending more than them and are just, overall, eating their lunch, right? So, using a tool like AdBeat is going to allow you to create PDF reports where you can present to them or show them, say, hey, well, I'm a big fan of UCLA and I just want to send you this report. on how your guys' advertising stacks up against USC, for example, and then here are a few recommendations, right? It might take you a little longer to do, but the extra time that you spend, the extra few minutes that you spend per each one is going to be worth it. Because I remember when I first started doing this maybe 6 years ago, I was, in terms of reaching out to people, I would send each person, I think I would send like 80 videos a day. I would send like 80 screencasts a day. So my whole entire day was sending screencasts. And because they're so personalized, they ended up working out really well. The reply rates were great. The open rates were great. And, we got a few clients that way. So that's another way to look at it.
Yeah, the one thing that I love doing too is reach out to people who have a lot of portfolio companies. So investors, for example, you can hit up investors and you can end up going to each of them and be like, hey, here are your portfolio companies, here are how they're screwing up. And if you keep pushing these investors and showing them how they can fix it and what's wrong, what ends up happening is these guys are like, why don't you just work for all my portfolio companies and they'll just do introductions. I did that. I got an introduction or First Round Capital did an email blast back in the day to every single one of their portfolio companies saying, hey, you should talk to this guy, Neil. Look at the Google Analytics graph that he did with TechCrunch and how he grew their traffic. So go find like really popular people that you can work for free for. They put your logo in their sidebar, helps create more branding like all the popular bloggers. Then from there, what you want to end up doing is go to each of those people or go to each of the like investors or big players in the space and be like, look, here's what I did for TechCrunch. Here's what I did for so-and-so. Pretty much you're leveraging these influencers that you did free work for. They'll like it. You show them what you can do for all their portfolio companies, break down exactly what they're doing wrong and how they can fix it, and you'll see that they'll just start firing off introductions. And that helps you get a lot of business because that person invested money in the company. They have a lot to say.
And building on that a little bit, guest posting, for example, on sites like Entrepreneur or Forbes, when you're writing something, let's say you're writing something new, let's say, Snapchat is releasing their ads to more people, for example. I'm just giving a random example, right? And you put it on Entrepreneur. Because Entrepreneur has a pretty high domain authority, there's a good chance that it's going to rank in the top 5, for example. So if you Google YouTube advertising, I think, I have a Forbes post that's probably stuck on page 1 somewhere. But that actually generates leads. So you guest post on one of these sites and then you're able to take over like a top 5 result. The branding from Forbes also helps you as well. And then people will reach out to you. And, we've had a couple people come through that way. And these are companies that are spending, a couple $1 million a year in terms of advertising. One more thing I'd add on my end is relationship stacking. So what you want to do there, instead of calling it networking, you're building relationships with people, right? So, whether it's you attending, events and meeting up with people and genuinely trying to add value instead of trying to hand out your cards all the time, you're aiming to build a relationship with at least one person for these events that you go to. If you can get one good relationship, I think that's a win. Not instead of saying I built 50 relationships where I'll probably never talk to these people again, which are basically not even relationships. But what you can do is you can do that, and then also you can throw your own events too. So in LA right now, I have these monthly happy hours too, and I really don't have any ulterior motive. I mean, I just know good things happen when you connect great people. And, when you're with people too, you're actually getting to know them better and over drinks. And then we have, food as well. And then I have, I throw dinners once a month with entrepreneurs in LA too. So if you're in LA, actually, if you want to go to these happy hours, just email me and then, we'll add you to the list. It's in downtown. But I just know doing these things builds so much goodwill that, it pays dividends in the long run. And it's not like, we're trying to win deals or anything like that. That just naturally happens because people know, you're top of mind. Just like people see Neil's content all the time. People see him speaking all the time. If you're top of mind, people are going to come to you because they know, well, first of all, they know you, they keep seeing you perform. Well, they're going to want to work with you. That's it for today's episode of Marketing School. We'll see you tomorrow.
This session of Marketing School has come to a close. Be sure to subscribe for more daily marketing strategies and tactics to help you find the success you've always dreamed of. And don't forget to rate and review so we can continue to bring you the best daily content possible. We'll see you in class tomorrow, right here on Marketing School.